People gathered to celebrate, and all attention was on a police officer.
You want to move the barricades? I got to get to Hopkinton.
But after a few minutes, a bomb went off, claiming many lives. But more than that, it raised suspicion in minds of FBI, questioning who this police really is.
Fuck are you?
Sorry, Sergeant. Could be clues in the blood splatter.
Welcome back to Paramount Recapped. I don't have many subscribers, but your single comment is a ray of hope to motivate me.
Boss!
The movie kicks off in April with Sergeant Tommy Saunders arresting a guy hiding in his apartment. Tommy's banging on the door, yelling at the guy, Harold, to drop his weapons and give himself up. But Harold's not having it. He's staying locked in. With two officers right behind him, Tommy decides to break the door down and go after Harold.
Fuck you!
After a chase around the room, Tommy's shouting for him to put on some clothes as he orders the officers to pin him down. Next, Boston Police Commissioner Ed Davis shows up to see how Tommy's doing with the capture.
This is an occasion. Commission exit in the SUV.
Davis heads upstairs, and Tommy finally manages to get Harold into the dining area for questioning. Tommy starts grilling him about a woman named Sean Creeke,
Says you pushed it.
who apparently got shoved by Harold after he got hit with a smoothie. But then Commissioner Davis pops in, asking Tommy if he's dealing with a homicide.
It's a homicide?
It's not.
Tommy quickly clears it up, saying Davis got it wrong. This isn't a murder case. Then it hits Tommy that Harold wasn't hit with a smoothie, but an iron.
Mold and iron, Harold.
Yes, sir, a smoothie.
Still, Harold keeps insisting it was a smoothie, repeating it to both Tommy and Davis. After that, Tommy jokes with Commissioner Davis, saying he's ready to move up and become a captain, deputy super, or even a commissioner.
Be a captain or deputy super?
He's just tired of all these trivial cases. But Davis isn't having it and tells Tommy to keep at it, saying he's due back in 5 hours for his next duty. The next day, Tommy's assigned to work security at the Boston Marathon. Meanwhile, over at the Kinskey and Downs house, Jessica and Patrick are chatting casually. Jessica is showing off a new necklace from Mr. Flanagan. While they talk, Jessica brings up their plans for Patriots Day as she preps pizza and wine. They start eating, and Patrick confirms their plan: watch the marathon and then hit Fenway to cheer for the Red Sox.
Excited.
Well, I'm really excited.
Patrick explains that Mrs. Flanagan gave her the necklace because she knew Jessica would cherish it. At the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, Lee and her teammates finish working on a robotic animal when Officer Sean Collier swings by to say hello. Lee mentions a Zach Cowboy concert, and Sean says they should go. It's a cultural thing, and he'll even get them hats for the event. Lee nudges Sean out, joking about what she wants at the party: fried chicken, a cold beer, and some tight jeans. Sean's thrilled to hear she's coming. The next day, Patriots Day, the Tsarnaev brothers, Jakar, and Tamerlan are watching a video about terrorism while having breakfast. Meanwhile, Sergeant Tommy's getting ready for marathon duty, doing a quick workout in his basement. As he's putting on his uniform, his wife Carol playfully teases him, but then tells him to get a haircut before he heads out. Tommy feels a bit silly in his uniform, joking that he looks like a clown, but Carol reassures him with a laugh. Sergeant Jeffrey Pugliese grabs his usual Dunkin' Donuts breakfast, a blueberry muffin and coffee, then heads to work. At the Boston Marathon, Tommy meets with Boston Police Superintendent Billy Evans, who assigns him to guard the finish line. Tommy tries to get out of it, but Billy insists it's his big comeback and that he should make the most of it. Tommy's told to smile and make a good impression. Unable to talk his way out of it, Tommy gets to work as the marathon begins, with the Tsarnaev brothers driving to the event. Meanwhile, Patrick Downs and Jessica Kinskey arrive to watch the marathon as spectators. Carol calls Tommy to drop off a knee brace he forgot, and instead of thanking her, Tommy jokes that he left it behind on purpose just so she'd have a reason to come by. As the Tsarnaev brothers arrive at the marathon, they split up in the crowd, each carrying a bomb in a bag. Commissioner Davis shows up, complimenting Tommy on doing a great job. Tamerlan leaves his bag in a crowded spot, and Jakar does the same just a few steps away. They leave the scene just as the bombs go off, sending the crowd into chaos. Unfortunately, Patrick and Jessica are caught in the blast. Police rush to get them and other injured people to hospitals. Another man, Steve Wolfenden, is also hurt and gets separated from his young son, Leo. Thankfully, an officer takes Leo to safety while Steve is taken to the hospital. Patrick and Jessica's injuries are severe, and doctors are forced to amputate their legs to save them. Sergeant Tommy jumps into action, searching for evidence while helping those who were injured or separated from family in the chaos. He radios for more ambulances and checks the area for additional bombs. He orders officers to secure the perimeter, fearing more explosives. FBI Special Agent Richard Delorier arrives on the scene with his team and Commissioner Davis. Delorier gets briefed on where the bombs went off and takes charge of the investigation alongside Commissioner Davis. He tells the team to gather any phones or gadgets left behind, hoping they'll find leads on the attackers. Delorier soon realizes they're dealing with a terrorist attack, so he calls for a meeting at the command center. He and his team set up at Black Falcon Terminal, putting up tents to launch their investigation. Commissioner Davis informs the media that they haven't made any arrests and asks the public to assist in the investigation by submitting any videos taken during the bombings. After some time, Sergeant Tommy shows up at the terminal to help with the ongoing investigation. While observing the FBI team at work, Delorier states there's no evidence to suggest the attack was a suicide bombing. Instead, it looks like the explosives were set off remotely and were likely homemade. As Delorier continues, Tommy chimes in, suggesting they go talk to the victims in the hospital to gather clues about the suspects. The next day, an FBI analyst reviewing the surveillance footage spots potential suspects, so he quickly calls Delorier to review it with him. Delorier then reaches out to Tommy, asking him to come down to the terminal. Tommy arrives, and Delorier shares the footage, inviting him to work together to track the suspects. They soon identify the two men as Jakar and Tamerlan, but Delorier hesitates to release their pictures to the public, worried they might be regular residents and not terrorists. Commissioner Davis, however, pushes Delorier to release the photos when it becomes clear these men are responsible. Delorier initially resists, saying they need to be cautious, but when the press leaks the images without his approval, he's forced to give a press release showing the suspects' photos on TV. Jakar, realizing he's been exposed, tells his friends not to contact him and asks them to clean out his dorm room to get rid of any evidence. That night, the Sarnaya brothers are out looking for guns. They spot Officer Sean Collier in his police car, and Tamerlan persuades Jakar to kill him to try to steal his gun. However, after killing Sean, Jakar fails to get the weapon. Tamerlan and Jakar then hijack Dunming's car, revealing to Ming that they were behind the marathon bombing and intend to hit New York City next. Tamerlan forces Ming to give up his wallet and everything in his car. At a gas station, Jakar goes inside to get some cash, giving Ming a moment to escape. Ming flees to a nearby gas station, where he calls the police, informing them of the suspect's whereabouts and that they've stolen his car. Watertown Police Sergeant Jeffrey Pugliese and his team soon hear about the carjacking, and one of the officers, Joey, spots Tamerlan, leading to a gunfight. During the shootout, the Sarnaya brothers throw homemade bombs, injuring several officers. In the chaos, Pugliese manages to shoot Tamerlan in the ankle, slowing him down. Tamerlan, realizing he's caught, tells Jakar to run and keep the mission going in New York without him. Jakar tries to escape in the stolen car, accidentally running over Tamerlan in the process. Shortly after, Sergeant Tommy arrives and almost gets mistaken for Jakar when officers fire at him. He steps out to show his face, yelling for them to pursue Jakar instead. Pugliese calls for an ambulance to take Tamerlan to the hospital. Meanwhile, Delorier and his team take Tamerlan's wife, Catherine, and Jakar's friends in for questioning. Catherine refuses to cooperate, dodging questions and referencing the Quran in a vague way. Delorier and Commissioner Davis suspect she knew more than she lets on, but are unable to get her to confess. In Watertown, a resident named David Henberry, while out for a smoke, notices something odd in his boat and realizes someone is hiding inside. He alerts the police, who quickly surround the boat and find Jakar hiding there after an intense 24-hour standoff. Commissioner Davis and his team celebrate as Jakar finally surrenders, and people all around the neighborhood cheer in relief. The movie wraps up with Sergeant Tommy, his colleagues, and his wife, Carol, celebrating their success at a Red Sox game. David Henberry thanks the Boston police for their bravery and encourages everyone to stand firm, emphasizing that no one should dictate their freedom. In the epilogue, we learn that Jakar is sentenced to death while awaiting his appeal. His friends are arrested for obstructing the investigation, and the authorities continue their probe into Catherine's possible involvement.